Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first session of INBA First National Youth Day Summit. I would like to welcome Dr. Nachiketa Mittal, founder of Judicial Preparation and Advisory Center. Sir is also founder and director of India's first virtual law school and has been former dean of United World School of Law, Karnavati University, Gandhinagar. Sir has previously served as Assistant Registrar in Honorable Supreme Court of India on a special invitation of the Chief Justice of India. I would like to request Sir to kindly enlighten our audience on the topic of career counseling and shed light on whether the job seekers require new skill set in new age after COVID. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tanishka. Thank you so much. Uh, Good afternoon to everyone, all dear students and also the organizers. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I wish everyone National Youth Day. It's a very good initiative being taken up by Indian National Bar Association on this occasion today. So, as I've been given to understand, it's an event where majority of the audience attending the program today are the law students. Now, the topic which has been picked up and I've been asked to speak today with all of you, my dear friends, is about career counseling, that do job seekers require new skill set. And this has been very carefully designed topic, especially given the circumstances of COVID-19 and pandemic. Now, as Tanishka has just introduced to all of you, I've been a law teacher, have been teaching in National Law University Rissa for a long time, and now I have taken a break from the institutional teaching, and I have started two platforms. One is virtual law school, where all students study law, and the idea has been to reach out to the maximum students who do not go to the top law schools, and also Judicial Preparation Center. Now, amid all this, let me tell you, even during my tenure at National University, I have been faculty in charge for internships and placements. Now, when it comes to all of the law students, how they should find their feet in the pandemic times, and especially also after the post pandemic, which we do not know how and when we will be able to get back to the original normalcy that we all used to enjoy before March 2020. So, in this current contemporary scenario, there are a number of challenges which have arisen, and we all have been witnessing. I have also been speaking to several students who have been reaching out to me that, sir, kya kare career ka with regard to legal jobs also shrinking, internship shrinking because physical presence has been really been done away with. So law firms, in-house, counsels in different companies, they do not generally now allow the interns, and at several places, even the judicial, internship with the judges, the judicial internship that has also, got shrink to a good extent because judges are also not allowing a lot of students to come to their, residential offices to intern, and courts have not been working for a pretty long time. So it's a very, chaotic situation. So I understand that challenges are there. One. Second thing, the students have also been able to understand that now the bars have been raised higher. I want everyone today to really get along with me in understanding certain challenges, and then we will talk about the solution. Because my idea is not to leave you with the challenges, but to help you so that आप अपने पैरों पे दोबारा खड़े होकर you can compete in the challenging times of the day. So, first of all, my dear friends, please understand that in the contemporary pandemic scenario, across the board, any kind of jobs, the filtration process has increased manifold. What does that mean? That means कि जिस क्वालिटी से किसी भी कैंडिडेट को फिल्टर किया जाता था, शॉर्टलिस्ट किया जाता था, be it a law firm, in-house counsels, be it any kind of a company that you're looking forward to. So those bars have increased manifold. The reason is, one of the strong reasons is cost cutting, because everyone has faced financial turmoil during pandemic. All kinds of businesses and offices and everybody, right, including the government bodies. So now when people are now hiring the new people, so there is always a chance, that people want to save money because they've already incurred a lot of loss. So while new hiring is taking place, so bars have been raised much higher, that now much better kind of a quality people will be taken up, and relaxations are going to be given a less discretion. Okay, even at the level of ह्यूमन रिसोर्स प्रोफेशनल्स पर्सनल्स एचआर जो होते हैं कंपनीज में, लॉ फर्म्स में भी आजकल होते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी लॉ फर्म्स में, some of you may probably know, right? So now we have to be prepared that how do we meet that filtration process. One, उस पे हम अभी आएंगे. I'm just trying to flag the issues. Second, law students have to be far more focused and alert than ever before now in these kinds of challenging times. In the earlier situation before March 2020, we used to be really little laid back also, that we will see as we will get into the fifth year of law course or fourth year of 5-year law course or third year of 3-year law course. So we will be able to address that which law firm or which company do we want to enter into, where do we want to, and how do we want to plan a career. But now you have to be really on your toes. Now you have to be really far more alert. You have to be what is called far more forthcoming. You have to be far more looking into the future. The reason is again because अब competition बढ़ गया है, right? So you will have job shrinking, which we have seen already. Markets are trying to restore back to normalcy, but it will take a while. Let's be realistic about it, right? There's nothing to panic at the moment, but at the same time, it's only I'm asking everyone to be realistic. Okay, so the next point I said is being alert, more enterprising, more forthcoming. What does that mean? We will come to it. Then, as you were hearing Mr. P.K. Malhotra just some time back, the former law secretary, he has said something very interesting and very nice, that lawyers have always been the leaders. They've always led from the front. It's what he said. And that's true. I always say everybody, that you take example of any bigger democracy, including, India or even US for that matter of fact, most of the people who have been shaping the policy of a country, of a democratic state in any country, have all been lawyers, right? Who was Obama? Barack Obama was a lawyer, right? Harvard law graduate. So who have been leading the country in India? For example, you see today the telecom minister. Who is the telecom minister? Ravi Shankar Prasad, right? He is a lawyer. Who was the finance minister? Late Arun Jaitley, right? So you name and you will find it all kind of portfolios. Always the lawyers who have been leading the nation, be it any government. Please understand, irrespective of the political affiliation, be it BJP, UPA, Congress, NDA, anybody, right? Even from the Congress, you can see number of seasoned lawyers like Kapil Sibal, Salman Khurshid, Dr. Abhishek Singhvi, so and so forth. They all have been lawyers who've been leading, different portfolios from different ministries. So the idea is that lawyers are always looked up to, looked forward to, in terms of leading, in terms of guiding, in terms of shaping up the policy. Hence, we have to be really on our toes in terms of displaying more leadership qualities than just being followers. Please understand that kind of a rule for yourselves, each one of you. None of the lawyers can just be followers. They have to be leaders, and that's how we all grow up, right? Now, when it comes to doing this, I have just flagged certain issues. How do we achieve this? In order to achieve this, one of the important considerations in current time, my dear friends, is that earlier, as I was saying, we used to be a little laid back. That chalo fourth, fifth year aane tak hum decide karenge kya karna. But now you have to very well plan your career much in advance, even before you enter into the third and fourth year. Okay, how do you do that? What are the key new skill sets that we all require? As the topic of the session also says, career counseling, do job seekers need new skill set? I did a very exclusive session of career counseling on 29th of December with all different kinds of law students. It was 3-4 hours of session. I did marathon. Anybody was allowed to answer any question. I will do that alone. Once again. So now, some of the skills, let me tell you. I'm sure you will also, agree with this, and I've been told by the organizers there's Q&A session also at the end, which we will take up. So one of the very important skills which we all know, but is often neglected in terms of saying कि legal knowledge ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Of course, legal knowledge is required, but please understand, you need to really marshal and master the art of communication. Communication skills. Why is that so? Please understand, communication skills will always keep you ahead in the league, ahead in the line in terms of competition. The reason is simple and very precise. We may have a very good knowledge, but if we do not know how to communicate effectively, how to put forth our point of view, it's not of any good use. Naming out all these lawyers, Bhushan to anybody, Salman Khushi, you name anybody, right? Why do we know them? Why do we hail them so much high, in high regard? We know about their argumentative skill, right? Why do you see that when we go to any moot court, we say, "Oh, you seem to be really arguing like couple symbol, very aggressive lawyer. You're gonna be making it to be." Right? When you get any best advocates or best speaker award in the moot court competition, whom are you trying to ape? Whom are you trying to imitate? Isn't it? You find some people saying, "Oh, you are trying to act like almost forcefully speaking like Arun Jaitley or something like that." Why do we try to compare? The reason is we want to be like them. And why do we want to be like them? We have heard them not only in the courtrooms, we have heard them on national televisions, we've heard them in elections, we've heard them in the parliament, on the floor of the parliament, also advocating different kinds of bills which are tabled and put on the floor of the parliament. So that is how we see a very comprehensive picture of a dynamic lawyer leading the nation. Right? So that's why, need to marshal the first. I'm going to narrate around 10, 11, kind of skill sets. So please take note of that. The first and very important is going to be communication skills, which will also involve the English spoken skills. And I'll tell you one very interesting example. You all are on Instagram, Facebook, and different other social media platforms these days. If you see, everybody from different, I mean, I would not name, but you can figure out, few even Bollywood actors, some of the very well-known television anchors from the electronic media of English television. So they all have been jumping into the entire forum of teaching communications and language proficiency. Why are they doing this? They all were very good anchors of the television. Some of them were the Bollywood actors. Why are they doing this? Only because communication skills, personality development, and spoken English has got tremendous potential to put you ahead in the competition league. Take note of that. Next thing, since we have got into the pandemic zone and the era and the phase, whatever we may want to call it, technology is another important new skill set each one of us should try to learn very effectively. Because till date, there used to be times, even we as law teachers used to say, "Oh, what is the use of new technology? We are doing good." But now we have learned that technology is actually making us go borderless. It's making us go beyond the borders. It's making our reach far more effective than we could think of traveling to different cities and trying to make contacts and do number of programs together. So technology, if you will be able to learn effectively in any law firm you go into tomorrow, in any in-house counsel as in a company you go, even in the judiciary if you go. So technology, if you have learned well, you will be able to do better than the others. Then third important thing, which may not exactly be related to the knowledge, but is extremely important for a lawyer. Please understand that. Gracious in networking and public relations management. Sometimes people ignore this, do not consider this as a skill set, but I think it's one of the very important facets, very important attributes of a successful lawyer. You will not find a very successful lawyer to be arrogant. You have to be gracious. You have to be humble. Why do I say that? I have seen with so many of my lawyer friends, who are making really good money, who are doing very good at the bar. They're doing very good at the negotiation, mediation, arbitration tables. Why? They're very soft spoken one. Second, they're gracious. They do not annoy anybody. They're not arrogant. They know how to do effective networking and public relations management. Please understand, being a lawyer at the bar, how do you get cases, my dear friends? You get cases only through your networking in public relations skill. I mean, fine, there's one of the very important factors. Definitely, you have to be successful at the bar to get the cases. But let me tell you, it's not just your success inside the courtroom that matters to get cases. I'm telling you a business point of view. There's a lawyer's point of view, definitely, that you have to really be arguing well, winning cases, and a lot of things, being knowledgeable. All that is non-negotiable, no doubt. But in order to advance in the pandemic times and even after this, so what are the new skill sets? You need to be little more investing in your public relations management. So take that also as a skill set. Why I'm saying this? Because हम सब में equal खूबी नहीं होती. I hope you all will understand and agree with this. We all are different at our own levels. We all are very sharp, but there are times that we may be very knowledgeable. We may still not be able to get few cases as compared to somebody else. We may think, oh, I could have got two more cases. The idea is we may probably maybe losing out on good communication networking skills, which is equally important from the business point of view. There's no shying away from that. Now उसमें कोई शर्मा शर्मी की बात है. It's very important practical aspect, I'm telling you, right? Another important thing, whenever you go for your internships, always leave a positive imprints and your feedback there. Why is that so? Because somebody should be able to give you what is called in the internship field, we all would know as law students, I believe, callback from the law firms. I am telling you because I have several of my friends, since I did my master's from Law School Bangalore. A lot of my friends, batchmates, are partners in good law firms today. So I'm able to even get some of my students' plays, very easily with them. But there are times I have got a bad feedback. One of my friends from a very good law firm, tier 2 law firm, called up once. Oh, Nachiketa, you sent a student last time. We didn't have a good impression. The student was most of the time absconding, was in the sense was not reporting, or if was reporting to office was taking very far, frequent breaks, was not coming back, and so on and so forth. So it was not working out. Next time, we should have a very good candidate. So sometimes it gets embarrassing also for somebody who may recommend you, right? Somebody who might have recommended you. Also, you need to also win the trust of that person who can recommend you even for a job tomorrow, right? So that's why you need to leave very positive kind of your imprints whenever you work. And people generally, I tell you, law students generally think, अरे हम लोग यहाँ लॉ फर्म में जॉब किए, हमें क्या जरूरत है लॉ फर्म में जॉब सॉरी इंटर्नशिप किए, इंटर्नशिप करके नेक्स्ट इंटर्नशिप पे मूव कर जाएंगे. नहीं, it's not like that. Always maintain your public relations, your networking with the partners and the senior associates you work with, because it's these people who have their friends in some other law firm you may be applying tomorrow. If somebody goes for a reference check, so the person should be in a position to recall you about your good work and give a reference check. So take note of that. Then another aspect is that please understand, whenever you're in a law firm doing internship in these days, why, since the skill set is the title, I'm repeating that again. Be a solution provider. Never say no to any of the tasks that may be assigned to you. Be it you might be in the third year, you may be given in a subject matter of tax or arbitration, or maybe more complex, any kind of thing. Don't say no, try to learn, right? So that you can be a solution provider. In the law firms, in a fast-paced, competitive manner, the way firms work, nobody has time sometimes, that the partner may not be able to devote a lot of time with you to counsel you, to guide you. May be able to do that, but not all the time. So you need to take note of that, that you have to learn sometimes on your own by being very smart and observant. Then next important thing, which is repeatedly told to every law student, but I'm going to repeat it again also because it's non-negotiable: publications. Now, with publications, I have to give a word of caution to every law student who is listening to me today. The word of caution is that I'm trying to speak slow because I have a bad throat. So word of caution is, my dear friends, that when you do the publication, never pay and get published. I have seen this with some of the students doing, and I really condemn that as a law teacher and as a professional. आप लोग को शायद sometimes students think, अरे किसको मालूम पड़ेगा, we have paid for one of the journals and get published now. The journals which seek the payment to get to publish you, trust me, nobody in the legal academia, nobody in the law firm sector would rate them high. Everybody at the higher ups, know that which journals are generally the ones who ask you to pay. Another reason, if you pay to get published, you will never be working too hard on the quality of the paper, right? Let there be rejections. Don't be worried by that, right? Let there be rejections, but that will teach you. If you are able to get to some of the very good journals, when they do the editing and they will send back your paper really with number of corrections, that will teach you how to correct, right? But if you won't be, why I'm saying this is because publication, and a good publication, develops a very important habit for each one of us to be a successful lawyer. How should we draft? How should we do our research? How we should not try to do, just fancy work. We should be trying to make sense in the argument, right? That is the reason publication teaches patience to be very good researchers. So that's why it is important, right? Then another skill set I want all law students to learn. I know it may be a little expensive, to be very frank. I know that. I'm also working on that area, that how the mediation skills be best taught to the law students. That's why I have recently floated the course from 1st of February in virtual law school, which will be taught by a well-known mediator from Supreme Court. She has been a trainer. So a 30-hour course for the law students. Why? Because mediation is skill set. If you acquire even 20 hours of basic skills, it will help any kind of a law firm you go into, any kind of lawyer you assist, or any kind of in-house counsel you assist, or even if you appear for the judicial service exam as a judicial service aspirant, because mediation is one of the integral techniques of alternative dispute resolution, is going to always and always give you an upper hand. Please understand that. And do not, when I say mediation, do not talk about it, do not think about it in general sense, but a professionally done 20 hours of a course, right? And in fact, some of you may know that in August 2020, Bar Council of India has also made mediation as one of the compulsory subjects, although BCI has been into a lot of controversies of late since last 2 weeks. But this has been one of the good decisions, I would say. जो कुछ अच्छा होता है उसको support भी करना चाहिए rather than criticizing, right? Yeah. Then next thing is what I want to tell everybody as a law student who wants to learn as part of the skill set is, some of you who may be wanting to make a career in litigation. Now, once, courts are slowly opening in some states, the district courts have opened also. So being successful at the bar has a lot of components attached to it. And I see one of the components very important and integral to it, which is, I tell you, I also learned that in a different capacity when I was called by the former Chief Justice of India to work in the Supreme Court on deputation from National University. I've seen some of the lawyers actually investing time in that. It is, you must also try to do a detailed study that how the registry of the court works. I have no inhibition. Somebody may quoting me, even if the what I was speaking goes on YouTube, because I know what I'm talking is very effective. You must know registry function कैसे करती है. Why is that so? आपको filing आनी चाहिए. आपको पता होना चाहिए after the filing of the petition in the courts, if there's a defect, how do you remove the defect? What is called removing the defect, right? It's not just mechanical work that you do. How the refiling is done, how the case moves from within the registry, how does it reaches to the board when the matter is taken up by the judge in the courts, right? So this process helps you. Why? Because once you know this process, you will do lesser mistakes. Since you don't know, भाई केस मूव होके केस लगता कैसे है, आपको वो नहीं पता, right? So you may have a right case, but because of certain technical defects, you on legal points you may be right, but because of certain technical defects of filing, your case may get delayed in coming to the board, in coming getting listed to the cause list. So what will happen? Who is going to be affected? You and your client together, right? So mastering the registry is very important. You must know that. That is the reason some of the sharp law students I've seen, what they do is they spend more time with the munshi of the lawyer than the lawyer sometimes, because munshi को वो कला पता है, right? जो lawyer का munshi होता है, जो lawyer का assistant होता है, उसको पता रहता है कहाँ कौन से registry से कैसे, how do you file, how do you do stuff. So you have to be also learning from the court assistants, the assistants of the lawyers sometimes. हमें कभी कभी लगता है, we are here from National Law Universities, we are not going to pay heed to any court clerk of the lawyer. No, you're mistaken, my dear friend. The clerk would know more than you. और आपने अगर कभी शायद महसूस नहीं किया होगा, sometimes lawyer will depend on the clerk more than you, because lawyer would know वो क्लर्क के पास लॉ डिग्री नहीं है, बट उसे काम पता है कैसे करना है, right? So you need to learn from everybody when you're entering into the litigation. Do not consider anybody to be inferior to yourself. That's a very key thing I'm telling you today. Next and very important thing, Tanishka, do let me know about the time also, so that I don't go on and on, and we can have time for Q&A. I have 2 more points to cover before I,
Sure,
come.
sir. So we have time. We still have 15
Okay.
minutes for that.
No problem. So now the next important thing is, my dear friends, in the contemporary times, as Mr. Malhotra was saying, some of you might have heard that we often try to only, complain about things, but that's not how I would also want to do. I agree with Mr. Malhotra. He said that you have to be, finding very positive solutions. And I personally believe, as I was introduced by Tanishka, being a founder of the Judicial Preparation Advisory Center, which is the law teachers driven judicial preparation center. The idea has been, we law teachers have come together. Some of us has been going to the high courts also to evaluate papers and things like that. So I believe in the contemporary India, where we see sometimes chaos with regard to, for example, what is happening out today and in this last several months, protest of the farmers. What happened before that? We saw protest over CAA. We saw protest over several other issues of these kinds. We say, oh, government is not listening, and so on and so forth. Right? We talk about all of these. Amongst these turbulent times, I personally believe, as a law teacher, and I hope you all will agree with me, judiciary should be a beacon of hope, should be a beacon of hope for preserving and protecting the Constitution. And I believe that all law students should necessarily, if they have made up their mind, can sit for the judicial services. Why is that so? Let me tell you. I have several of my students, even from national universities, who are serving in the judiciary, who have cracked the judicial service examinations. Now, when I speak to them, one of them I'm going to host very recently in tomorrow or day after, to speak to my judicial service students. So I'm going to bring one of my former students who is serving as a judge. I did that earlier also. So some of my students, when I speak to them, they say, "Sir, बहुत ही अच्छा जीवन है." It's a very peaceful kind of a professional job, if you want to call it. There is never interference from the superior courts. There is never interference from the government. So even as judicial magistrate first class, it's a wonderful kind of a profession we have entered into. You are the leader. You are the leader of your own courtroom. It's a very big responsibility, but the state judicial academies train you very effectively. Right, so they are doing very good job in that sense of serving the judiciary. That's why at Judicial Preparation Advisory Center, I always say that it's like you must know that how to add value to the seat of justice. It's not just about cracking the exam. And I personally believe, please don't take me wrong in any sense, my dear friends, but being very realistic about it, we know what kind of society and the country we live in. We have a lot of diversity. We have sometimes a lot of what you say clashes or contradictions also. And we also know that in terms of gender, we are not an equal society. Let's respect that very clear factor that we have inbuilt in this society. I personally believe that for the female law students, judiciary is one of the very, very, very promising option. Why? If you become a judge as a female judge, you will be actually taking care of your family for years to come in terms of empowering them, right? So you will be in a position to do a lot more good for the society than sometimes being a lawyer alone, right? So I have been of the opinion, I have to tell you honestly, I did my PhD in village courts, gram nyaya, is what Mr. Malhotra was mentioning. I've done a lot of field work. I have worked in more than 150 villages. I have seen, I have talked to, I'm in touch with so many judicial magistrates. I've seen even female judges working in some of the remote locations of Odisha, of UP, of Rajasthan, of Punjab and Haryana and so on and so forth. But I see and I really admire, I salute the kind of work they do. Sometimes, for example, when I was serving in Odisha for long years, I happened to, travel to distant locations in Odisha for my PhD data collection and going to the Gram Nyales. I was surprised that in tough situations, those women lawyers have, judges have been working and they've been holding their fort like very strongly. But so I really salute them. So it's a wonderful profession. You must try to look for it. And now after 2020 and 2021, there are a number of positions coming up for the state judiciaries and you must look at it. Although Bar Council of India ने थोड़ा confusion फैला दिया है, बहुत सारे law students डरे हुए हैं. I'm getting calls from number of students कि सर क्या होगा, will there be 3-year bar, you need to practice. Matters sub judice. I cannot say much on that, but I personally believe that this may not sustain because as I see that judiciary is already overburdened because बहुत सारी vacancies रह जाती हैं जो fill नहीं होती. So even judiciary has to look at filling up the vacancy, and one bar council cannot just create this kind of a structure for the judicial officers as such. I mean, so let's be hopeful. I do not see much of a logic behind it and any kind of very tenable argument. But yes, till the court decides, we all have to keep preparing. That's what I say. Okay, so that's one factor. And last but not least, we often see law students doing internships, fair enough, but I have seen a trend that is still some of the law students do not target very effective, fully funded internships which are given, or partially funded internships which are given by some international bodies also. Why I'm saying this is the reason for that. Because I have myself been a recipient of International Bar Association London's scholarship for being a trainee or intern with them for 3 to 4 months in London long years ago when I was doing law. So I have seen very few students, going for that. Maybe उसका एक reason होता है शायद because their process is quite rigorous and tough. You have to have a good research paper, and based on that, sometimes they can be telephonic interview also. They can be, then there's a selection process. So when I was selected, there were around, I remember, only 5 or 6 of us from different continents of the world, and it was fully funded internship in London for good 3 to 4 months, right? So you have to look for these kinds of opportunities. I'll be happy to help some of you who may be wanting to do that. In the past also, I've been the alumni of the International Bar Association from the traineeship point of view. So I'll be happy to write that recommendation. So I can tell you how to approach that, how to do that. So these are different kinds of skill sets I was talking about. There's another good organization. I remember my roommate went to Sri Lanka and I went to London at the same time. So he went to Transparency International. Transparency International does a fabulous good work. In terms of rating different states about on the scales of transparency and trying to see कौन सी country में कितना corruption and a lot of things. So TI has got its office in different countries across the world, even in Brussels, Germany, in a lot of other parts. So you can try a TI office also. You can try, number of other UN bodies also. Some of them may be paid, maybe partially paid, or maybe fully funded also. For example, International Bar Association has got another office in Hague. Right, so when I was applying, I had the option of applying for the Hague or the London office. But since in the Hague office, that time they used to do a lot of work with regard to international criminal court kind of work. So I was more inclined to the human rights work. So I opted for the Human Rights Center of the International Bar Association, which was in the London. So that's the reason I opted for that. So you need to be clear that what kind of an area you're looking forward to, and accordingly you can plan for it. So this is in summary, my dear friends. I wanted to apprise you and to tell you that there are different kinds of skill sets as I've been talking to you, which you must take note of and plan your career accordingly. And judiciary you must take very sincerely, because that, according to me, first of all, is one of the safest option. Right. Second, that internally it's very rewarding and enriching. So we also starting a new batch from January 18 for that. And apart from that, Tanishka, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions if the students have, so that
Yes,
we can be one-to-one, interaction also with the students, and it should not be a monologue. Yeah.
yes, sir. So, students have posted in the Q&A box. I'll just read them. So, first question is from Samaira Nakrar. She wants to ask,
Can I see that? Can I see the question, or will you be reading out to me?
I'll be reading out to
Okay,
you,
good.
sir.
Okay.
So, she asked, can you please elaborate on some of the good publishers for research papers?
Okay, I will also request the students to maybe introduce yourself, your college, and your, so that it helps me understand. Okay, you said elaborate some of the publications, right, Tanishka? Okay, if I heard it right, it was about the publications. Now, please understand, when it comes to publications, foremost, I would suggest that try to get published in the research journals of the law schools itself. Now, why is that so? Because in the law school, दो चीजें होती हैं. There are some of the journals which are student run. Now, when it's a student run journal, उसमें कुछ myth हैं. Let me break that myth. It's not that students decide everything. There's always a faculty, advisors and faculty mentors who help the students to run a journal. So you must try to get published in those student run journals, because as I was telling you, the initial point, don't pay for the publication one. Second thing is, you can always go and publish in some of the journals which get cited in the courtroom. Now, why is that so? Because those journals have a very, very wide outreach amongst lawyers, legal professionals, judges, law teachers. For example, you must publish in SCC. आप, मुझे नहीं पता आप में से कितने लोगों ने SCC हार्ड कॉपी उठा उठा के पढ़ी है, बट अगर आप देखेंगे SCC की वॉल्यूम्स में एक जर्नल सेक्शन होता है, right? So there are in the initial pages some articles which are published even by law students. It's not that they publish always of the lawyers or law teachers, right? So those articles, so आप सोचो, SCC हर लॉयर के ऑफिस में जाती है, हर लॉयर परचेज करता है, हर जज के घर रेजिडेंशियल ऑफिस में होती है, हर बार में होती है. Anybody who will flip through the pages, right, will get to know your articles, will get to know you. That will increase also your chances of internship, my dear friends. Please understand that. One. Second, so you can try to look for some of these kinds of journals. There is a journal which is published by Bar Council of India. So Indian Bar Review. So I'm not sure if it's there in my shelf right now. So you must also publish in Indian Bar Review your article, which is going to be, again, the circulation is wide. It goes to every law school in the country, Indian Bar Review of Bar Council of India. And I tell you, in Indian Bar Review, you will find also the students' articles and research scholars' articles. So these are the credible ones, right? So you must try to look at that. Apart from that, yes, there is no end to it. एक चीज आप जरूर देख सकते हैं, शॉर्टलिस्टिंग का क्राइटेरिया आपको बता दूं. Go to the UGC website और गूगल करना आप UGC indexed or UGC referred journals. It will take you to the page of University Grants Commission. उसमें आपके पास लिस्टिंग आती है कि कौन कौन से जर्नल्स यूजीसी रिकॉग्नाइज्ड हैं. उससे आपको एक बहुत ही क्विक लिस्ट मिल जाती है कि ओ दीज जर्नल्स आर गुड. Why I'm telling you, some of you who may be looking at coming to the field of law teaching, so in journals in the teaching profession we have points, right, that if you have published in the UGC recognized journal, so it will always have value for you. Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, sir. We have one more question from Krishnendu Ghosh,
Mhm.
student of UPES.
Yeah.
He asks, sir, kindly can you throw some light on ways to enhance writing and drafting skills
Right.
for
Now,
students?
yeah, exactly. Now, please understand the wonderful question. One of the factors is, I will try to simplify it for each one of you. Because when it comes to writing, first of all, what do you require for writing? You need a very good thought process. If you cannot frame your sentences, what do you need for that? Good reading. So, the very first starting point is you must know on what subject you want to write. Be drafting even a petition, you must know where to look for a material. So it requires a very extensive reading. One. Then you must also please understand when it comes to writing. First of all, writing cannot be taught simply like this. I can give you few pointers. Writing में एक चीज हमेशा याद रखिए, वो गलती हम सब लोग करते हैं. और कभी कभी अंग्रेजी में being, since English is not our mother tongue or the first language, being realistic about it, right, as Indians वो गलती हम सबसे हो जाती है. Never frame big sentences. जितने बड़े अगर आपके सेंटेंसेस 2 से 3 लाइन में चले गए तो समझ लीजिए गलती होने के चांसेस ज्यादा हैं. जो पढ़ रहा होगा वो समझ नहीं पाएगा कि आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं. इफ यू विल मेक स्मॉलर सेंटेंसेस, यू विल नो कि मैंने गलती कर दी है, ठीक नहीं लग रहा, इट्स नॉट राइट, यू मस्ट करेक्ट इट. एंड वेन एवर यू प्रिपेयर ड्राफ्ट, ऑलवेज इंश्योर कि आप अगर कोई नॉन लॉ फ्रेंड भी हो ना, या आपका सिबलिंग हो, भाई हो, बहन हो, आप एक बार सिर्फ उनको बोलिए पढ़ ले, आप बस एक बार पढ़ लो, जस्ट गो थ्रू इट, जस्ट रीड इट. कभी कभी जब हम पढ़ते हैं हमें लगता है पढ़ते हैं इस लाइन अपील नहीं कर रही, राइट. अगर मुझे ही समझ में नहीं आ रही तो शायद how will it make sense
Yes.
to other people? So you must also read. एक गलती हम सब करते हैं, let me tell you, even as law teacher we do it. We never proofread what we write. हम लोगों को लगता है हमने लिख लिया, एक आर्टिकल लिख लिया, बस हो गया ना, अब क्या करना है. 5000 वर्ड्स का आर्टिकल था, मैंडेट था एक लॉ एक जर्नल के लिए, उसके बाद तो भेज दो बस. साइटेशंस हो गई ना, 50-100 साइटेशंस हो गई, जस्ट सेंड इट, डेडलाइन आ रही है, राइट. बट नेवर डू दैट. प्रूफ रीडिंग मीन्स, एंड लेट मी टेल यू, मैंने भी वो कला सीखनी पड़ती है. प्रूफ रीडिंग मीन्स वर्ड बाय वर्ड, and that requires, my dear friends, patience. There's no substitute for that. Okay, so please understand, for drafting you must read a lot, you must try to practice a lot, write small sentences, get it cross checked. एक Tanishka, I'll just half a more minute, because एक बड़ा
Okay.
इसी के साथ रिलेटेड एक चीज है जो शायद कोई पूछे या नहीं पूछे, लेकिन मुझे लगता है मैं बता दूं. Some of the students who are in the final year, they often ask me, they often approach me. I've been writing several recommendation letters for abroad, for universities, for them, for my students in last several years. SOP, a statement of purpose or expression of interest. How do you write that? जनरली हम लोग की क्या गलती होती है, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ पर्पस जब डेडलाइन आ रही है, कोई भी फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी के लिखना शुरू करते हैं, देन वी रीच आउट टू आवर मेंटर, एक लेटर रिकमेंडेशन दे दो, बस हो गया काम. नो, let me tell you, I know some of the candidates who are extremely meticulous. I know even today one of the candidates who started writing her statement of purpose in the month of May. She had to apply in the month of December, and she sent me in the month of May. And then the key is, when you write your letter of statement of purpose, circulate it to some of your friends whom you trust, circulate it to some of your seniors, take a feedback, वो statement of purpose, then you will be able to develop and reach out to the final version of it, right? So always try to do that exercise. Never feel कि किसी ने कमी निकाल दी. अगर कोई कमी नहीं निकालेगा तो आप मान के बैठे हो जो आपने लिख दिया पत्थर की लकीर है, that is the best drafting. That's not going to be true, right? Okay, go ahead.
Sir, we have one more question from Ritu Gada, student of GLC. She asks, as law students, should we aim for position of editors of law magazines or journals?
Okay, no doubt you can do that, dear, because let me tell you, editing sometimes is what it requires mainly. Your knack, your ability, right? कि आपके पास वो क्विक देखने की क्षमता हो. हाँ यार, अगर मान लीजिए कोई आपको रखता है सिर्फ ग्रामेटिकल एडिटिंग के लिए, राइट? उसके लिए तो लीगल नॉलेज नहीं चाहिए. So you should have a good communication and written proficiency. You should know line attack rahi hai kahin pe, it's not making sense, right? So you can definitely look for those positions. There's no harm. In fact, I am coming up with the blog of Virtual Law School. I have also notified for the position, which will be led by one of my proud old students of National Institute of ISA, who is now a PhD scholar in Alsar. So, and some of the former Supreme Court judges and some of the senior professors, they are writing for the blog already, which is going to be inaugurated and launched on January 26. So you can look for these positions. There is no harm, because ये आपको सिखाएगा इस तरह के positions कि कौन सी गलतियां आप खुद नहीं करें, कौन सी और कैसे एडिटिंग की जाती है, कैसे प्रूफ रीडिंग की जाती है. Okay, so don't feel that you cannot do it. You can do it.
Okay, sir, can we just wrap up? We are running short of time.
No problem, Tanishka. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the great enlightening session. And it was actually a career counseling guidance session from you. And on behalf of INBA team and the law students attending the session, I would like to express all thanks to you. And sir, you can join the lounge with the students and interact on one-on-one on the
Thank you.
table.
Thank you, Tanishka.
And
Convey my
sir,
regards
I
to
would also like to
Kaviraju.
invite you for the next coming up sessions and paper presentation, which we have, which will start around 6 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, and convey my
Thank you
regards
so much,
to
sir.
Mr. Kaviraj, the Secretary of INBA. And all the best to everyone. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you. Thank you. Very good job, Tanishka. All the
Thank
best
you
to
so
everyone.
much, sir.